Hi guys, politicians don't seem to understand why people have such little respect and trust in them. When they speak, we always have to be on our guard as to what they actually mean and if they're going to go back on those words. Rarely are they frank about their dishonesty. Well, Mark Rutte, the current head of NATO and former Prime Minister of Netherlands, explained to Bloomberg that while Russia and Putin are bad, it doesn't mean that we should hold that against them. Because, business. Pretty shocking stuff, but then again, many politicians don't actually have any principles.
Before you were Secretary General of NATO, you ran a European country. Would you be willing to do business again with Russia after this? Because we are hearing reports of things like maybe gas deals come back into play.
Well, I'm not there because, first of all, you have to maintain the pressure on the Russians to make sure that they do whatever is necessary. That's why we have the sanctions, and let's not be naive about the Russians. But longer term, Russia is there. Russia will not go away. And I've had many dealings with President Putin till 2014. In my first 4 years as Prime Minister, we had many negotiations. And I think it is normal if the war would have stopped for Europe to somehow, step by step, and also for the US, step by step, to restore normal relations with the Russians. But we are absolutely not there yet. We have to maintain the pressure on them to make sure that they are willing to engage seriously in talks with the American administration and, of course, also with the Ukrainians.
So everything we've been hearing over the last number of years about how Putin is a dictator, that Putin has breached human rights, that he's illegally invaded a country, broke international law, all of these things is just rhetoric. All of this is just rhetoric. Doesn't actually mean anything. Because what we want at the end of the day is we want access to Russian oil and gas. Let's go back to the way things were before. Yeah, Putin, you've been a bit of a bad boy, but don't worry, we're willing to do deals with you because we want your resources. And people wonder why we have such little trust in politicians. Because they'll say one thing one day and then do the exact opposite the next. They'll pretend to have principles. They'll pretend to say, look, we need to stand up to dictators. But, when the rubber hits the road, it's like, well, we can do a deal with this dictator because we want access to his resources. So these people are looking forward to a deal because they want to have normal relations with Putin once again. They want to bring him in from the cold. I really don't understand this. The reason he invaded, I believe, in part, is because he knew that the West would not respond in 2014. Because the West were focused on, well, we need to get access to your resources. We want your oil and gas. And I was tearing my hair out over this. I was saying we should be moving away from fossil fuels because I said at the time, what would happen if Russia, decided, let's cut off oil and gas, let's freeze Europe because they're so dependent on us. I said, why are we not moving away from fossil fuels? Why aren't we moving away from reliance on Russia? And it was constantly, well, we need to do a deal with Russia. We need to do a deal with Putin. We need to access that market. Italy was pretty upset about the war because Italy was doing great business with Russia right up to 2022. And, politicians were condemning one after the other the invasion of Ukraine in 2022. And now we're starting to see a sort of softening of that position and saying, we need to do business once again. I really don't understand this. I really can't get my head around this. This completely undermines any trust we can have in politicians. They don't have any principles. All they care about is pandering to people for a period of time and then moving on to the next topic. Look, I don't see any peace deal in the short term, but I think politicians around Europe are itching, especially in Western Europe, less so in Eastern Europe, but in Western Europe, politicians are itching at the idea of, let's do a deal with Putin. Let's get the oil and gas flowing again. There's a massive market there. that we can sell our goods into. It's about business. It's about money at the end of the day. And they will likely force Ukraine into accepting some position in order to have a better relationship with Putin. Here you're hearing it from the very top of NATO. Now, maybe I'm misunderstanding something, but it sounds to me that European politicians want to eventually have a good relationship with Putin, a good relationship with Europe, with Russia, in order to get the goods back in there. To get the goods in and the oil out. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and thanks for watching.